Welcome to Python with Andrew. We're going to continue looking at file input and output. So far, we've only done basic text files and doing a basic read, but Python comes with a lot of help to allow us to, if you like, get the structure from a file and bring it in a better data structure. And the first thing we're going to look at is just reading a comma-separated file, so one that we might produce in something like Excel. So let's jump over and have a look at that. So this is what I had previously, where I would open up a text file and I would then, for reading, and then I'd process each line one at a time, and I would just print the lines. If I run that, you can see that this is the first line, this is the second line, third line. That was the text file. Nothing exciting about that. But what happens if I have a file like this one here? This file here is a comma-separated file. It would look better if I opened it in Excel, but I'm keeping everything in my Visual Studio Code, just make it easy. But you can see that we've got a title. This is a movie database. It's got movie ID, movie title, budget, release date, revenue, runtime. So it's got all this data. Now, I've only got 50, but the actual movie database from IMDb, I think, has about 50,000. So we could really write a good program that does a lot of different things on that data. So that's my, if you like, database, for want of a better term. I'm going to read that in using not a normal, I'm not going to read it like this. Although I could, let's see what happens if I run this. All right, it just reads it, runs it. There's going to be some problems with that because we're not getting any structure out of it. But I can import a module called CSV, a Python module called CSV, and that's going to make it a lot easier to, if you like, get that structure where each line becomes a list of items that we can easily use, an easy subscript. So all I need to do is I'm going to open the file like I did before, but I'm going to use data CSV equals csv.reader data file. Okay. What that does is that calls this method called reader on the data file and converts it as we bring it in to a better structure, in this case, a list. And so I'm going to print every, not the data file, but CSV. So for every line in the data file, I'm going to print the line. Now, each line is going to be it's going to be a list. So I'm just going to take the first two items from the list. That should be the ID and the title. You can see there the ID and the title. Only because I don't want all that information. We don't need it for what I'm demonstrating here. So let me close that down and run that. Sorry, I forgot to save it. Let me save that. And you can see that I've got the title and then everything that's come through. Bit of junk in this, a few that didn't come through well. Some different languages come through okay, so that's all fine. But this is not a perfect file, but it does for our illustration. So what I've got there now is I've got access to the lines as I go through, and they are, each line is one row of the database. Right. Now, the problem with this one is it's not just one row, because the first row is also included. So if I wanted to process that, I would need to skip the first line. If I wanted to, let's say, print out just these. But in this case, I'm going to print out the heading as well. So that's a really good example of using a bit more structure. Now I'm bringing it into a list. Each line is a list. And when we do some examples, similar to our inventory examples before, we're going to create our inventory in Python, and we're going to work with the inventory using this method. Makes it a lot easier because all the data types are what we want, and it's a lot easier to work with. Now, of course, I'm just reading this file. I could do the exact opposite. I could write this data file in this format. Okay, so a simple change. All I've done is added one line from a Python method, and that's made it a bit easier for me to process. And in the next video, you'll see an even easier method because the problem with this is I'm having to do it by 0 and 1. You have to remember what each column is, but there's a better method than this one. And we'll look at that in the next video. So again, thanks for watching Python with Andrew. Do practice this. Maybe you can write the part that writes it back out again as practice. Have a good day.